I don't enjoy anything more than seeing my son grow up and the memories we get to share. And so for me, that's my number one priority. And it's part of me taking care of myself. And if then I can respond to work things in time that I've blocked for that, I'm actually serving those people better because I can give them my full attention, because otherwise I'll just be half-assing it because I really am just trying to deal with it on the fly and keep my attention half on my son. So it's really better for everyone, in my opinion, to just, you just got to focus on these things one at a time. As much as my brain tries to multitask and wants to, it's just so much better to prioritize.
Hi guys.
What's up, guys?
Welcome to the SuperSetYourLife.com podcast, your weekly dose of inspiration, entertainment, and education to fuel your life inside and beyond the gym.
What's going on, podcast? We got Mr. Steve Fleiszer on the other end. He is the co-founder of Space Creatorz, a digital marketing agency based in Nova Scotia, Canada, dedicated to creating space for business owners so that they can focus on their areas of expertise and outsource their marketing to people who specialize in it. They are fully staffed with professionals in the area of SEO, social media marketing, email marketing, and intentional work-life counterbalance strategies. Steve says, having space means having room to breathe. Inhale, which is for you, and exhale, which is not for you, in all areas of your life. A living space that you love and brings out joy. Relationships that give you room to grow as individuals together. Work that lets the rest of your life come first. What I admire about this gentleman is that he practices what he preaches. I've been following him on Instagram ever since he joined the 7-Day Better Fit Dad Challenge, which he placed, by the way. Congratulations again, sir. You can talk about that on episode 47 of our podcast called 4 Perspectives on Fatherhood. We'll put a link to that in the show notes. Also, we've talked on the phone quite a few times here and there, had a great time catching up just now before recording, and we'll just call each other out of the blue and catch up too. But his integrity really shows through in the way that he always puts his family first, starting with his wife and then his son, and he's literally always doing something with his family. Something that I get to do working from home as well. But I see him as a bit further down the road than I am. So basically I'm in a situation now where I'm trading 1% of my work for 1% of family time, like every week, getting closer and closer to that ultimate goal. So he's setting the pace for me in a big way. We both have really similar goals and lifestyles. So we really click, and he's been a positive, encouraging influence on me because iron sharpens iron. Steve was also kind enough to purchase our deltoid desolator skull cable attachment. And like me, his son seems to enjoy it as much as he does. We have a rack of all of our finished goods in our home, and the kids will often pull over a bench to the display rack. And then 2 or 3 minutes later, it's just game over. And we have skull cable attachments all over the house. So, dad life, baby.
Oh, that's it. My little guy loves those things. He has the skulls talking to each other, and I mean, not using them the way they're intended, every other way than what they're meant for, but no, he loves them. And I appreciate that intro, Cole. You know how I feel about you, man. I love you. You inspire me too. And really happy that we met, and happy to be back on the show. So thanks for all the kind words. I really appreciate it.
Hey, podcast. And before we get into this interview with Mr. Steve, this interview was literally life-changing. I mean, this was a full-blown consultation with an expert in the area of digital marketing. So if you're a business owner, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're thinking about starting a business, there's a lot of tangible, actionable stuff that you're going to be able to apply. A lot of meat. If you know anything about me, you know that I love meat. But before we get into it, just wanted to give you guys an update on what's going on at SuperSetYourLife.com. We are offering custom colors now for our deltoid desolator cable attachment in the colors of red, yellow, brown, green, blue, orange, violet, and white. Rico Bland, a 50-year-old NPC classic physique competitor. We interviewed him on episode 50 of our show. He loves his so much that he ordered one with green skulls. So I'm finishing up that order right now in the shop, actually, after I finish recording this and shipping that to him today or tomorrow, probably, so I'll get it out. He's going for his IFBB Pro Bodybuilding card in 2021, so wish him luck. They are $45, 100% handcrafted at our shop here in Vancouver. $25 charge for a custom color, available at supersetyourlife.com. You can save 10% off at checkout if you book a coaching call with Coach Colt, aka myself. No obligations or pressure at all. Just 15 minutes to identify what your aesthetic goals are and whether or not we can be of any help. Worst case scenario, if it's not the right fit, then I can point you in the direction of a coach that can, somebody that you can click with. For example, we had a vegan athlete ask if I would coach him on a lean bulk without eating meat, and I just politely declined because I can't justify coaching an athlete without including meat in a plan. It's just not what works for me, nor do I specialize it, nor do I even really believe in it because I just think that that's a disaster waiting to happen. We specialize in bodybuilding coaching with a meat-based approach. That's what we do. This often does include a large amount of carbohydrates in addition to the meat, depending on the athlete's genetics, lifestyle, their preferences, their goals. We train high-level competitors and beginners alike, even if you never want to step on stage in your underwear, but you can't see why anybody would want, but you do want more muscle, you do want less fat. That's what our 12-week hypertrophy transformation programs are all about. So for all of the beginners, the intermediate, the advanced clients we've been training over this last summer, we've been seeing that they've been building muscle, they've been losing fat, which is body recomposition. And yes, this is possible. This is what we've been seeing. They've been improving their overall health. They've been having better sleep, better hormones, better testosterone, better sex life. Their whole life is improving. They've been saving money because they've been simplifying their meal prep. They've been saving time, and that's because we do what works and we cut out all of the nonsense. This all can be done with proper discipline, proper accountability, and a community of positive-minded people like you with the same goals. So to see proof of these results, you can follow me on Instagram, which is where I'm sharing a lot of this, if you don't already, and that is at Colt Milton, COLTMILTON. Or you can shoot me a text at 206-743-1346, and you can request access to our Superset Community private Facebook group, which is where we share most of the success stories and encourage each other in an uplifting environment. We even have one testimonial that she says has been reversing her aging, meaning she's biologically 1 to 2 years younger than she was 3 months ago. Stay tuned on that, because when she's done with her 12-week hypertrophy program, we'll share that story. And it is mind-blowing what a meat-based diet that's predominantly grass-fed beef, a couple of organs here and there, mainly bone broth, a little bit of liver, can do for your health and your appearance. If you'd like to discuss what your muscle building and fat loss goals are with us, and you want to change your lifestyle around food and exercise, I would love to talk to you. This is what Taylor and I do. This is who we are. We are here for you. I know it can seem overwhelming. You don't have the time. You're spread too thin. Maybe you and your maybe you have kids, and creating a healthy lifestyle just doesn't really seem that realistic to have these regimens and habits in place. But there's always a way to make it work. Taylor and I are not perfect, but we do work nonstop with a few breaks here and there for church, Bible study, wrestling with the kids, or going to the park, going to the mall or something with the kids. But we're pretty much full-time going hard in both of our businesses, but nothing gets in the way of our commitment to our diet and our exercise. Our health has to be a priority. And we have plenty of obligations and responsibilities in order for us to be the best versions of ourselves. Our workouts and our steaks, aka our food, is always a top priority. So this is what we teach. It's what we call supersetting your life. All right, awesome. So we're going to jump into the interview right now with Mr. Steve Fleiszer, the co-founder of Space Creators.
So what in your heart made you want to start Space Creators?
Yeah, to try to keep a long story short, I have ADHD. Growing up, really struggled in school and really questioned the way that things were, and had a tendency to question authority a little bit as well. So that was just a big part of my nature. And then as I got older and I got into university and started figuring out things that work for me and a little bit more about how to play the game of life, just realized with my personality, working for other people was probably not going to be my route. And I really do have a lot of ideas and consider myself fairly creative. So that would be the first inspiration. I did try working somewhere in sales, and there were things I loved about it, loved the team I was on and loved the success side of it for sure. And I am competitive, and I'm still a bit pissed that I finished second, but it's all of that stuff was good in sales, but still I just really struggled working for other people. So that was the first inspiration. But then the second part, and I think far more important, is what we were talking about offline. And as you mentioned in my intro, which was the ability to, I think as I raised my consciousness about life, I just started thinking about having the ability to not have work run my life and create a company and a culture with the company that you really can have work-life harmony and have these things all complement each other, your family life, your work life, travel, whatever your interests are, and not have work as a burden. So yeah, a long way of saying though, that was the inspiration behind starting Space Creators as it is today.
I love it. Yeah, no, I can totally relate to everything that you're saying. Some people, it's peaceful to them to go to work, get a paycheck, and to work for somebody else, and then clock out, and they can be a better dad. They can be more available for their family because they don't bring work home with them. You and I are kind of different in that way.
Sure. Yeah, I have a lot of respect for however you want to go about your career, and I totally understand how other people might enjoy working for someone else. I think there's a lot of things, as I know you can relate to, running your own business that can feel super lonely at times, even though we're both lucky to be doing it with our significant others. And I think that's a unique experience. But even still, like, there's things that for us, you don't want to share with your team because, the negatives, that you want to keep things positive, right? And so, yeah, there's times that it feels lonely. Like you said, at work, if you're working somewhere else, you punch in, you punch out. You can leave that all at home when it's your own work, your own baby, your own company. It never, there's always a little bit of a flicker in your brain, no matter what you're doing, that's thinking about it and tuned in. But the only thing I'll add, and I actually was talking to a gentleman on LinkedIn about it though, is that I think working the 9 to 5 at a company, I think this last year proved more than ever, that is not necessarily secure either. Right. Exactly. There might be a perception before that working, but yeah, you can lose your job like that. And now, so to me, it's like, if you are inspired to try your own thing and start it, it's as secure as working anywhere. Honestly, you just got to go all in.
Yeah. Yeah. I was working in the corporate world a year and a half ago, and we were on a slow, steady process to going full-time into business for ourselves doing this, but it was too slow and it was too comfortable. And every time we would start to get ahead and start to see a light at the end of the tunnel, then something would happen at work. And then I was a manager, so then I'm having to work 60, 70 hours a week, and it's just taking too much time. And then doing bodybuilding competitions and stand up all at the same time on top of it. It was a lot. So losing my job it just forced me to go, okay, I got to make stuff happen now, or I have to get a job. And I'm not going to, and I knew that learning another job would be just as hard as starting our own business that we were already part of the way to starting anyway. So it was just like, okay, this is a no-brainer. We're going all in right now. We're being forced into this. So let's make it happen.
I love that. Honestly, I'm sure at the time felt, I'm sure the nerves and it's a scary time when you're like, okay, we're going to do this all in. But I'm sure looking back in a sense that all that happening was a blessing, right? Like, it put you in this kind of flight or fight.
Yeah.
Mode, right? Where it's like,
yeah. And I see where you're going. I know that you know this too, but obviously the pandemic was a whole tragedy and a horrible thing in a lot of ways. But you have to make the most of it, because what else can you do? And so we were just like, you know what, let's see it as a blessing, and let's make a blessing out of it, and let's make the most that we can with it. Maybe we'll be better off because of it.
Yeah. And look at where you guys are today. It's been just over a year, right? And it's pretty amazing when you go all in, to see how much you can move things along in 12 months. So I think you guys are a great testament of that.
I appreciate it a lot. Thanks for that. I'm trying to keep the focus on you.
Cheers, man.
So you seem to have really been able to achieve a healthy flexibility between family time and work time. Something that, since leaving the corporate world in the summer of 2020, I've always found particularly challenging. So how long did it take you to create a predictable, like, I'm in dad mode boundary to be able to create the freedom that you have today?
Yeah, it's a great question. Honestly, it's something I'm still working on. Like I mentioned, like when it's your own business, there's always something going through your head. But for me, huge things that have helped me as tips for this. Like, one is your priorities. It's going to just start with deciding, like, for me, my time with my family and my son, there's no amount of money that I value, no deal, there's nothing else in life I value beyond that time that I get to spend with him. So when it comes to making decisions, it's just something I decided about being a parent very early. Like, if my son needs me, he asks me for something, especially at the age he is now, being 3, it's like I'm there for him. And if it's a client or someone I work with or someone on the team that can't understand that, then we're just not aligned on what's most important in life. But obviously we all have to make money and that is how our society runs. So there's a balance there. So for me, I mentioned I have ADHD. These are things I have to do anyways, just to survive in this world and be productive. So very much time blocking my days, having agendas, schedules, delegating the things that I don't have to do or I'm not good at to people that are better at it than me. Airplane mode, being in marketing and in the digital world. I know your phone blows up all the time too, doing your work. It's like, I'll just put my phone in airplane mode if it's time that I need to be present. And that is what's important to me. I can answer the emails or whatever emergency with work later. And I just put my phone in airplane mode. So I'm not even tempted by the notifications and just leave it at that. So that works really well for me. And then I think the ongoing work is just learn. And this is beyond being with your family. This is just being present in the moment in life. And what I think a big part of happiness is about is just enjoying what's right in front of us. And meditation really helps me with that. I practice it daily. And yeah, it's just a really good way to start my days by calming my mind and bringing myself back to gratitude and being present. So yeah, those are the main things for me.
I love that. I can totally relate to it too, because I'm sure you can relate to this. It feels like if it's something urgent with your business and you're with a kid or you're tied up and I'm like, I'm just really not in business mode right now because I'm enjoy this time with my family. It can feel like you're about to lose a deal, lose a sale, lose a customer, something, but it's shocking how understanding people really are when you're just honest. Like this guy this morning, he was telling me he's like, he's been crushing his workouts and all of a sudden he's like, hey, I have no energy this morning. Like what happened to my strength? And I'm thinking like, crap, like I know he's eating enough protein. I know that I've got him dialed in. His workout program is good. Like, I'm like, shoot. And I'm getting both the kids up. Taylor's at the gym. So I'm kind of on dad duty in the mornings. Yep. He's ready for school and everything. And I just told him, I was like, man, like here's what I'm doing right now. Like, I'm sorry, I can't help, but just let me get back to you on this later. Is that all right? And he was like, yeah, okay. And he's actually super polite about it now. And he's just telling me, he's like, you know what? Yeah. He's like, I went back and looked at your Facebook post that you put in the private group. And he's like, I think it's just this. I think this is all it is. I don't think it's that big of a deal, man. Enjoy your time with your kids. I don't want to take you away from that. So It can seem like it's a fire and it can seem like it's urgent, but if you're just honest, like, dude, like I'm at the park right now,
Yeah.
and I'm pushing my kids in the swing. Like, can I call you back later tonight? Like 99% of people are like, yeah, okay. And if they're not, then I don't want to do business with people like that anyway.
That's it in a nutshell. Couldn't have said it better. Like, one, I think you'll find when you stay true to yourself and your priorities, like, you're just going to attract more people that, again, like, if you're someone who's not going to respect that I prioritize family life over work life, then, we're already not vibing from the beginning. But two, like, you sometimes, and especially in today's world, it's empowering the other people to go and find answers on themselves. And I think you and I are similar. We like to serve people. So it is really hard when somebody asks something of you, and especially when it's a client, because
it means so much too. And I guess, sorry to cut you off, but like, somebody that's like, it's about their health, and so it's like, I know somebody else is struggling with something. So if they're like, they need help with like what groceries to get, and they're at the grocery store right now and they're calling me like, this, should I get this steak or should I get this steak? And I'm like, man, like, if I don't answer that question now, they're going to pick the wrong one and they're going to mess up their diet, So I get it. Sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good, man. It's because you care.
Yeah.
And I'm the same way. It's really hard, but I just continue. As I think more about it, I learn more. Again, it just comes back to, as much as I care about our clients and our team and serving others, it's always going to start with taking care of yourself first. You'll be able to help that many more people. And for me, if part of that is, I don't enjoy anything more than seeing my son grow up and the memories we get to share. And so for me, that's my number one priority. And it's part of me taking care of myself. And if then I can respond to work things in time that I've blocked for that, I'm actually serving those people better because I can give them my full attention, because otherwise I'll just be half-assing it because I really am just trying to deal with it on the fly and keep my attention half on my son. So it's really better for everyone, in my opinion, to just, you just got to focus on these things one at a time. As much as my brain tries to multitask and wants to, it's just so much better to prioritize.
Yeah. And it's very, very apparent that exactly where your priorities to, and how, yes, you're busy every day. Yes, you work way more hours than the average person does, but you still have non-negotiable time that you time block. I love that term. That's something that we do too, is time blocking. We got it from the book, The One Thing. I don't know if you've heard of it, but
yeah, I've heard of it. Haven't read it. But
you're using a lot of terminology from that book. So
am I? Yeah, that's hilarious. I haven't read it yet, but I have heard of that one. Yeah.
It's a good one. Yeah. The audio book is pretty good too. So like, if you don't have time to read it, then, just like listen to it on a jog or a walk or a drive or something. And I've read that book, taught that book, listened to the audio, read it again, studied again, like applied everything. It's probably like, it's one of the most simple, just like bare bones, laser focus on what really makes your business work and what's a waste of time. It's an amazing book, dude. It's
I love that. I'll check it out. I appreciate it. If you like it, then I'm sure I will. So I'll add it to the list. Yeah.
Actually, if I of like all the 50, 60 success books that I've read over the years, I know it's like way too many. I should be much more successful than I am, having read that many books. So I'm not like by any means, but of all the books that I've said, if anybody said besides the Bible, what's the number one book that you have just like for basic success principles? The One Thing by Gary Keller.
Love it. I love it. Cool. And that your joke there about, reading all the books, this is something I say in marketing and consulting. It's like, the knowledge for anything, we all have access to it now. You might as well share the knowledge. It's implementing it is a whole other ball of wax, and that's when you need to get paid.
You got to use it. Yeah, you can sit on YouTube and watch videos of people working out all day, but your abs aren't going to show unless you actually go put in that work.
That was the exact analogy I was going to make, and even to working with a coach like yourself, though, right? Like, you can go and learn a bunch about bodybuilding. It's way different to then have somebody on your side like you that's done it, and you can ask questions in the moment and make those fine tweaks that you need in like a customized workout plan, right? So it's like the implementing versus the learning are two very different things.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. You're speaking of YouTube. So your YouTube video with your wife and you working together as a team, it's hilarious because Taylor and I can relate to a lot of what you guys are talking about. So can you elaborate on what it's like working with your spouse?
Sure. Again, and I'm always leery because my experience, I'm sure, would be very different than many other people's experience. But Jeanette and I have been together. We're 33 now. We've been together since we were little kids, like over half of our lives
Wow.
now. So to say she's my best friend and those cliches are very true with her. And she's probably the only person on this planet that can put up with my BS. So in that sense, like, we work really well together. Again, of course, our core values are aligned. Our motivations are aligned, all these really important things. But then luckily we're both different people too that have our own unique skills. So yeah, we're lucky. We complement each other really well. And yeah, she's really great at integrating things and incredibly resourceful and things that I would fail at horribly. And it's much more detail oriented than I am. So all of that's great. I think I've come to learn this over the years, and it's something my grandpa always taught me, which is like, yeah, in the end, she's right. So that's that's always been a good lesson. And the more I just agreed to that, the further along we seem to get. But it's the greatest, because I think most importantly for us is back to your first question, our selfish motivations for running our own business was the work-life balance. And for us, our lives are completely intertangled and cohesive and work together. And so it's such a blessing. We get to work on a company we love together and on projects together and raise our son together and grow personally as well as professionally together. So yeah, it's the best. I love it. But also understand that, yeah, that might not be the same for everyone and a bit of a unique experience. So yeah, it's but for us, it's the best. Yeah. It's
I imagine that you casting the vision for what your guys' business is, because we were talking before we started recording about how your specialty lies more in the creative end of things, hence your shirt and your ability to see and put together a big picture. So I imagine her belief in you and support of you has been a driving force in your motivation to keep going every day when you have your ups and your downs, and know that she believes in you. And you're like, okay, if she believes in me, then I know I got this. Totally.
And just like we were saying, those lonely times, it's pretty nice when, hey, especially in our earlier days of, maybe there was a big deal on the table and it fell through for whatever reason, or a project went wrong in the earlier days because you're still learning the logistics of how to run things, or you're scaling and hiring someone and it doesn't work out. And yeah, those times it would be really lonely if you'd had to kind of hide it from your family as well as the team. That would be, I imagine that's really tough, where, yeah, we can like be super supportive of each other and talk through it and change our energy back to positive, which, yeah, is like invaluable in my opinion.
100%. Yeah, it was hilarious how you said that they're always right too, because this whole idea of going full time into personal training was and bodybuilding coaching was all Taylor's idea. Actually, she was the one that was like, Colt, you need to go all in with coaching. And because like I've been coaching on the side, but have never taken it as seriously as we have now. But my mind was Skullbellz manufacturing, made in the USA. Let's take the, I was more focused on the product in our partner Bennett too. That's what he specializes into. That's kind of where our heads were at. I think Taylor being more about relationships and more about people. She's like, Colt, you've competed, you've helped people win awards. Like, why aren't we why aren't we doing that? I mean, that's something that we could do full time. It'll be more sustainable too. And so even from a business perspective, she was way smarter than me, because again, we were just talking about before we started recording how we literally have an entire shop now full of thousands and thousands of dollars of material that we have paid for that's just collecting dust because we've been having so many issues with our manufacturing process with the rubbers and everything. And so like when we get that figured out, which we should be getting done with that this week, then it's going to be great. And then the products are going to be taken off more. And so we'll be really promoting those. But in the meantime, coaching has saved us, and it's been, and we're able to be involved in people's lives and able to, and help them to see results and helping them first. They're aging in some cases. They're healthier, they're more fit, they have more muscle, they have less fat. And it was all Taylor's idea. It wasn't my idea. So
yeah, that's so beautiful. And sometimes it takes, even though there are partners, it's one of the great things about a relationship, right? Sometimes we have our own inner critics and things like that. And it's really helpful to have someone who believes in you, as much, if not more than you believe in yourself at times, to help push each other and see those things from a different lens. And she's totally right. I mean, yeah, these things you've achieved in your life and work towards and you're passionate about, those are like your greatest just natural assets from a marketing perspective, right? Like, yeah, I can't just start taking pictures or videos of myself in the gym and selling myself as a bodybuilder coach. Like, that's something you've earned through your work and passion.
You could definitely make it in CrossFit though, just because of the beard alone.
yeah, I'd still need to keep the sweater on at this point. Like, nobody wants to see that, but the dad bod's real. But all to say, like, as I've told you, and I mean it sincerely, once my knee is healed here from being torn, I'm fully planned to get coached by you guys, because you see the passion and that you made the right decision. So I'm glad you listened to her and you went all in, because you guys are doing such great stuff.
Thanks, dude. It'll be an honor working with you if and when that time comes. And like we were talking about before we started recording, we need you guys' help on the SEO.
We got your back there. So looking forward to it.
Awesome. That leads me into my next question, actually, which is, transitioning the business a little bit now. Google SEO. So Taylor and I haven't really done anything for Google SEO, search engine optimization. All of our marketing has been email, word of mouth, Facebook, and Instagram. So for someone that's a complete novice to search engine optimization, is it important, and where do they start?
Sure. I do think it's more important to certain businesses and industries. So, very generally and high level, if you think that there's an opportunity that your audience is searching for you on, or searching for what you sell, or at least would be searching for content, right? Or answers for things that could be your like ideal client at some point, then of course SEO is something you want to do. It's more competitive right now than ever. A lot of people that didn't want to invest in it pre-pandemic have come around and realized the importance over the last year. So that to say, like, it's become more expensive to work with good SEO specialists. And that would be my number one piece of advice, is like, I would not go and hire somebody willy-nilly, because there's a lot of people who say that they are and probably won't achieve the results you want. And there's a lot of ways to kind of fake it, I think, in a sense, or show results that might not be meaningful for your business. So I think, one, to answer the question, yes, it's super valuable if it makes sense for your industry. But then two, you would want to work with somebody who is an SEO specialist, because every account is nuanced, and you really need somebody who's willing to work like one-on-one with your business and understand the ins and outs, your customers, the journey, the different kind of buyer stages, and then identify what keywords you want to rank for from there, as well as what opportunities there are. And that will help you fuel your content. Now, if you are someone who really wants to learn how to do it for themselves, I would suggest, It's just, if you're going to do it, you might as well start selling yourself as an SEO specialist. But there are some really cool tools. So, yeah, I don't know if you'd want me to start talking about those here, if that'd be relevant to your audience, or
I think that's enough. Like just giving an overview of it. If anybody listening to this would like to hear more about SEO, Steve's got a whole video that one of his experts has describing, which is actually what I was studying before, preparing these questions to be able to talk to you. So.
Well, I love that. And what I'd say, Cole, too, maybe if this would be valuable for your audience, I'm happy to send you a list of resources with links, and maybe you just want to include them in the description of the podcast.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
If anybody does, if anyone wants to go check them out. And then just like Colt said, of course, if you want to reach out to me directly, I'm always happy to talk marketing and share any advice if it's helpful. So please feel free to reach out.
Yeah, I can totally relate to what you said on hiring a specialist too, and not just somebody willy-nilly, because I'm always finding workout analogies to be able to make sense of everything. That's the great thing about the gym too, is that like you can break down everything into sets and reps and coaching, and to make sense of like anything in the world basically. Mm-hmm. It's like do you want your website to look like it was professionally done or do you want the results of somebody that is a professional, or do you want the results of somebody that is willy-nilly? Like what's gonna be a better return on your investment and look better on your bottom line a month, 2 months, 3 months out after you work with this person. And when it comes to coaching too, it's like, when I was thinking about hiring a coach for my bodybuilding shows, I didn't have a coach my first shows. And I was like, I don't need a coach. I'm coaching myself. But then I looked at I looked at everybody else. I was like, okay, I was coaching myself. Now it's time to look like I hired a professional coach. So I hired a professional coach, and then I look like I hired a professional coach.
Yeah. It's funny you say that though, because I struggled with that growing up too, and always felt like, I can probably teach myself to do this better. For whatever reason, or like
just being a man, we can all relate.
Right. And it's like, and then eventually I realized, hey, you know what? If you find a good person, you respect their opinion, you can tell they've achieved things that you'd like to achieve. It's really going to expedite your success to just invest in that person, to be able to develop that relationship right away and have them teach you. And you're just going to save so much time, which again is your most valuable resource. So it's like, again, if it's something you truly want to do, let's go back to the bodybuilding. Like, you want to get in shape, right? You come across your profile, you obviously have the testimonials, and you can tell you've achieved it yourself, and you know what you're talking about, and it resonates. Like, to me, it's just a no-brainer to make that investment if it's something you care about, because you're going to do it that much faster, that much safer, and have that mentorship that makes all the difference. So like, couldn't be more aligned with you on that. And it's something I do all the time now. If I find something to invest in, or a mentor that I like in business or other areas I want to improve, I never hesitate now. I just I invest, and I'm always happy I did.
Thanks. Yeah, and thanks for saying that too. I'll slip you $50 after the podcast for saying that about coaching. But yeah, no, mentorship isn't just limited to these things either too. It's like Taylor and I, the first thing we look for in anything that we're doing is we look for a mentor. We're going to be tanning our own competitors now. We're literally doing everybody's spray tans. So we have a coach that is coaching us on how to tan. But anything that I teach from the Bible too, I first people I go to is all of the elders at our church, and I run it by. I'm like, okay, can I teach this? Can I teach this? Like, what would you think about me teaching it this way? What would you think about me teaching it this way? Like, how would this come across? Business mentors, our own coaching, our own bodybuilding and hypertrophy programs that we're doing online. That's all come from actually quite a large investment that we made. Helping somebody to professionally organize all of our skills and our talents and our expertise that for a while was just willy-nilly and just kind of all over the place, and to organize it and be like, okay, you can structure your programs like this, your pricing can be like this, your plans can be like this, your payments can be like this, and it's so, you know, and on paper it's like, man, this is a huge investment, hiring these guys to be our coaches. But the names are Chris and Eric Martinez. The dynamic duo is what they're called. They're identical twins, super cool guys, and
that's cool.
Yeah, they've been a complete blessing in our lives now, and they're best friends of ours because they care. You know, at the end of the day, this isn't what you and I do aren't really what most people like. It's not like mortgage banking or real estate where people do it to make money. Like, you and I are very passionate about what we do, and so that's kind of the fun part about it is we surround ourselves with people that care and they're like-minded. I'm not saying that mortgage bankers and lawyers are bad people necessarily. You know?
I got a buddy who's a lawyer. He's an awful guy. So, no. But no, it's true, man. And I think trick is like, get that proper mindset around growth, that growth mindset. Two, like I said about the SEO specialist, do be mindful and intentional about who you want to work with or be mentored by. Normally the cheapest option isn't the best, but do your due diligence and find someone who really resonates with you, and then go all in, because I don't think there's ever been something I've done to grow or learn that I've invested in. And you'll have to tell me if this has been your experience. Like, it never takes too long before that investment in self-growth like pays itself back, and then tenfold if you go all in and you believe me, find the right resources and people. Yeah. So it's like, never mind the time again that you get back. So it's just like such an accelerator to get where you're trying to go, to find people to learn from. So yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I did want to say quickly too, just because you had mentioned about with the marketing, I think it's really important for people to just try to be intentional and kind of 80-20 rule things, and not be like, yes, marketing is important, but phase it out. Like, a lot of people think you need the most beautiful website to start or the perfect logo, and like those things for your brand can evolve. And yes, they're important, but even me who sells marketing, I think you really want to be intentional about like phase one, what's the MVP or like minimal viable product that we need to get to start testing this thing, selling it, get the information to put us in a place to feel more comfortable that now, like, yes, this is a good idea. It sells. We have an audience. What can we do to market it more and bring more people? So again, just, you want to be intentional. So as much as I think marketing is important and worth investing in, like, you just want to work with good people and do it when the time is right.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's so easy to get carried away with shiny object syndrome and to just get carried away and get your head buried in something that you feel like you need to be doing. But then you got to take a step back and go, wait, what was the original goal? And what I'm doing now is still contributing to what we originally set out to do, or is it taking away from it?
Totally. And a lot of people forget, if you're an idea person or you want to try something or start a business and you're feeling that fire, a lot of people miss that with the internet and technology now and the resources available, it takes very minimal investment financially to create a landing page on the internet, host it, and to basically build it and start testing if anybody's interested in your idea, right? So someone like yourself and like Taylor mentioned, you have these skills, this equity that you've built through investing in your own passions in life as a bodybuilder that are a unique skill set to you that other people want. It's not actually that hard or expensive to test the theory out if people would be interested in this. And then it's like, okay, this is working. Now, what can I do to, like, maybe I hire the twin brothers that you worked with, right, to help me actually set up my business processes correctly and talk to a marketer and all that good stuff. So it's easier than a lot of people think.
Absolutely. 100%. Thanks for that, man. I feel like we could talk on that subject all day. So I'm just trying to.
Sure. Save it for another episode.
Yeah, trying to stay on topic a little bit here. Email marketing. That was the next question. is email marketing out of date, or do you think that it's still as effective as when it was first like a brand new thing?
I love email marketing. Again, it might be a little bit industry specific, but I would say most businesses should have an email list that they're actively working on and optimizing. The reason being is like, and social media marketing is great and probably one of the best places to be spending your marketing time or dollars as well. But in that case, you're like renting the audience, right? And the data from Facebook, for instance, if it's Instagram or Facebook. If it's an email list, like you own that list that you've built and your audience there. So again, like on Instagram, let's say you put a post out and you have a certain amount, let's say you have 2,000 followers, like those 2,000 people don't see it, right? And Instagram is controlling how many people see your content, as well as the data that you can get back from them, where if it's an email, you know, and you can look at the data, how many people opened it, and you can segment your list, and you can be really intentional about your strategy there. And there's such great email automation tools and resources right now that with the right strategy, you can make your emails stand out. Like some people fear, oh, I get so many emails in a day and unsubscribe to them. Although if you're being honest, like how you normally have to be pretty pissed off with an email you get to actually go and click unsubscribe. You probably just ignore them.
Yeah.
To be honest, the ones that you stop liking. But to answer the question directly, I think it's super important. I take it a step further. I really love text message marketing, which is kind of up and coming service and definitely something for you. That makes a ton of sense that you'd want to look at. The reason being, again, you want to be really strategic and know what you're doing with emails to make sure that people open them and they enjoy them. And with the text message marketing, it just, you know, it's a marketing buzzword, but it really does, or term, it cuts through the noise. So again, just like so many people have embraced SEO over the last year, like email marketing is a service we've sold a ton of to companies that were like, oh no, we didn't have an email list. And now we realize like we really need one because our brick and mortar store, everything's online now. So this was something a ton of companies were transitioning to and scrambling to figure out. The text message marketing, like you get the data is like you'll get open rates of 90%. So you have a text message list and you're announcing a new thing, Colt, like the trainer and your list that's subscribed for the text messages, 90% of them will actually open what you sent them. And that's like unheard of in email marketing. If you were able to promise 90% open rates, you'd be the richest marketer going. So yes, email marketing is important. And then, I think SMS or text message marketing is another really cool opportunity. And it's all the same reasons though. You own the list, you get to really control what they see and tweak it how you want as you go. And it's very powerful. And even setting up drip campaigns and automations, they're very powerful where it can still appear to be personal, but you've thought out through learning the journey of your customers. And it's like, they've purchased this or they came to the website and they didn't buy and they get, but they subscribe to the newsletter and it hits them a few days later with an automated email reminding them about it and things like that. And it makes a difference because people don't buy things the first time they see them. That's a very unique point that you need to catch someone where they really, really wanted what you're selling. That's why brand building is important and making a relationship with your audience and funneling as many of your target audience as you can into your content is because then when they do decide to buy, you'll hit them. And email marketing is a great way to stay top of mind once you've captured them on your list. So
awesome. Yeah, it's just one more tool. I agree with everything that you said too. The text messaging, I just took a bunch of notes on that, and so that cool. is extremely helpful. In addition to a lot of the tips that you had on the newsletters too. But yeah, no, I've experienced that people. Well, I guess just my experience as a consumer. We'll take Chris and Eric for example. They're our coaches and mentors in our professional coaching, and I listen to their podcast. I subscribe to their podcast. I get all their emails. I don't really read a lot of them because I'm already up to date because I'm listening to their podcast. We have meetings, we have weekly phone calls where I'm talking to them in person. I can talk to them anytime. I get their SMS messages and stuff, and I only actually consume 30-40% of their content, but like it's not annoying though. Like if anything, the text message reminds me, oh yeah, that nugget that I heard in the podcast, I got to remember to implement that today because that's going to be really helpful. And so if it's something, if it's a brand and a person and a company that you like, then I don't see how adding something like a newsletter, if you don't have one already, or text messaging would create any sort of a problem personally.
Yeah,
I just made a note to actually send out the newsletter too, because I haven't sent one this week. But I've noticed that what you said about how people don't make a purchase on the first buy or on the first exposure of the product, I found that to be very true too. It's amazing how like I'll post something on Instagram and I know everybody sees it and we get some sales, and then I'll share it in a story and then maybe we get a sale issue after that. And there's people that are like, bro, I'm going to buy one of those, or bro, like I'm going to get a bunch of those, or bro, like when you get that, let me know. And then like a month later, as a matter of fact, this lady that just bought one of our fitness logbooks, she just tagged me in her story. And so I know that she just got her order today. But she said that she would buy one a while ago. And then she just placed an order out of the blue after I sent an email about it. That was just kind of like, I almost didn't even send the email. I was like, everybody's already heard about the fitness logbooks that follows any of my content, but I just sent the email out, and then like, boom, I got a couple more orders off of that. And so, I think that people, life is so fast paced anymore today that you need to be persistent with it and not be afraid to share what you're doing, what's going on with your business.
You've said a lot of things there that remind me of client conversations I have all the time. So first thing being omni-channel, like present, is really important. And so sometimes people and clients will ask us, hey, like, am I going to be is this too much posting on Instagram, or will they get sick of my emails or seeing this stuff? And the answer to that is like, no. If we're doing our job as marketers and building your brand, the people that are following like what you do, they like your brand, and we be conscious to not always sell them is important, like deliver value. Of course, nobody wants to just get promotional marketing all the time. So that's super important. But then two, if we're building a website, in terms of conversions, we're very intentional about making sure that if you land on the website, the main call to action user experience will drive you to where you can shop and purchase the things. Because again, in marketing and sales today, more than ever, we have people's attention for like that long, and then your phone buzzes and something pulls your attention away, or your kids or whatever. So it's like you need to make the buying experience easy for when they're ready. And then you also just need to keep top of mind. And that's why also triggers and like scarcity and these promotions do work, and timers, and it can be a little bit annoying sometimes, but it does help push people over the finish line to make a purchase. And that's where email marketing can be really helpful again, because you just remind them this deal is for so long, and if you don't purchase it now, and it works, there's a reason that those tips and tricks work, because it really does help push people to make those purchasing decisions. And a lot of brands are competing for our dollars, so you need to be thoughtful in how you do it.
Yeah, and you can't take it personally either. If somebody like you know that they've seen the post, or like they liked the post and didn't buy what they said they were going to buy or something, it's like they may have been like, excuse my language, but they may have been like on the toilet and like, and like trying to get out of there or something. It's like people don't want to stop and get their card out and like make a purchase or something. But this gentleman that had bought something from us before messaged me earlier today, and he was like, hey, what kind of protein powder do you take? And I was like, we use metabolic nutritionist protein powder because it's what we're going to be selling to our website. We just placed a purchase order. It shipped yesterday. It's going to be here on Tuesday. We got this flavor, and this flavor. It's the best. And he was like, oh, great. He's like, well, send me the info on it. And so I just sent him screenshots from their website. I'm like, I don't even have this on my website yet, but it is really, really good protein. You'll love this. We beat Amazon's prices, and I can ship it out to you like next week. I'll send you the invoice. And he was like, done, because like I love the guy, but like I'm a consumer too. And it's like, man, like if I want some protein powder, if somebody doesn't go that extra mile, like I'm probably like it'll take 2 seconds for me to click and get it on Amazon, and I do that too. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to lose this sale. And it's like, do we make a lot of money selling protein powder? No, we made it this far without selling it at all. But like every sale counts, man. Like you just never know what it's going to lead to after that.
Generally, in business development, marketing, and sales, what's called customer acquisition cost is where you spend the most money.
Yeah.
Right. So a lot of the times you lose money getting a customer to buy from you the first time, but you get back on the customer payback over time, right? And their lifetime value as a customer. So these are all numbers to look at when you're making plans. But you're right. If you capture that lightning in a bottle and somebody's in buy mode, you want to make sure you get it and you capture that person, because that's now you have a chance to make them a customer and build that relationship going forward.
Yeah. And not to feel bad about it too, because it's just like, man, like I'm giving this guy 10 times better service than, what Amazon will give him or something. And
sure.
I'm sure you've experienced this too, but I'll never forget what Big Tom, founder of Black Iron Strength, all American made fitness equipment company. He does all the equipment for the Pittsburgh Penguins, for a lot of the NHL hockey teams and professional football teams. But I had the pleasure of interviewing him. Like I said,
I saw that video. Yeah, he was a cool guy.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah, well, thanks for watching that. Yeah, and one of the things that he said was, if you treat people right, and if you conduct your business with integrity, you never know how it's going to come back, but it always does every single time. And if somebody, buys something and they didn't like the taste of it, and I'm like, I already gave you a sample of it and you liked the sample, you bought the product, and now you're saying you don't like the taste of it. It's like, okay, and accept the return, and just, money back guarantee on everything. And if you always treat people the way they're supposed to be treated, give free content, give free value, not always look for the sale, but stop and listen to their questions and answer their questions and help. I mean, like all this advice that you're giving me right now, it's like, you're like, I'm not paying you for this. Like we're just two friends having a good conversation, and you did the challenge, and I helped you out with some things, and now you're helping me out with some things. And if you live like that, you never know, but it always comes back around. People call it karma, people call it luck, people call it God, people call it the universe, whatever you want to call it. It's a fact. It always works, and you don't know how it's going to come back. Like that person might become a client. That person might just buy a cable attachment. That person might just refer you to somebody else. You never know, but it always comes back around full circle.
Could not agree with you more. Try to live my life with that as a main principle. And for sure, no matter what you believe in, I mean, there's science that dictates that everything is energy in front of us, right? And so if you're putting in positive energy and you're conducting yourself with integrity, which is tough because we're all humans, we have ego and, all different things that go into the decisions we make. But if you make that like either the harder decision or just the better decision as often as you can, and you try to help each other and realize that we are all connected, and being here is much more than about ourselves. I do believe that energy in the world and, things can't help but come back to you. And if you keep that optimistic outlook and are intentional about who you surround yourself with, then whatever you call it, it comes back tenfold. So it's, the trick is finding a way to really do it in an altruistic, like authentic way to try to give to others, because we're wired for survival, not necessarily to act that way. And as things have evolved, but yeah, from my own experience, it's undeniable that that's the best way to live your life.
Yeah, I agree with your philosophy on that. We by default and by nature are not designed to be able to for the welfare of others. It's survival. That's our natural instinct. So to be able to do something right and to be able to treat somebody else the way that you would like to be treated, it takes effort. It takes some sort of outside force and some encouragement. So one more thing on the email marketing. You were saying don't have every email just be like a sales pitch or something, because of course that's going to make people unsubscribe. So I imagine that you probably I'm not on your email list. Could you add me to that, please?
Of course, yeah. We'll
just like, I don't know why I just didn't think of that until now. But I imagine your emails are probably like free value, right hook, jab, right hook, the way that Gary Vaynerchuk teaches, right?
Yep. And I mean, yeah, without diving too deep into it, we have, segments of our audience, right? So depending where you are in your journey, like obviously if you're a client of ours, you get a whole different email series than somebody who's maybe downloaded what would be called a lead magnet, or maybe a free resource we've put out, right? That group is segmented into a completely different list. And then we even have, something I've been experimenting with is like and this would be cool in your industry or with your coaching when the time's right, is developing a bit of like a VIP list within your clients too. The ones you've had the longest relationships with, the ones, refer you a ton of business, and then, have a whole other segment for extra value that you provide even on top of the rest of everything. Because again, word of mouth is, no matter what a marketer tells you, word of mouth is always going to be the biggest lever in somebody buying something. So yeah, to take really good care of your best clients is worth it. And so there's all kinds of creative ways you can do that. But yeah, that's something else we do with emails too. And you might get even behind the curtain stuff that we don't share with everybody, but or even, events and opportunities to meet each other and things like that works really well as well for creating VIP lists. But I know you do a really great job of this, and not to go on a complete tangent, but it's just a marketing philosophy in general. People get really caught up again with acquiring new customers, and it's super important. You can never forget to make the client experience like one of your main focuses. Jeff Bezos was big about this with Amazon as he built it and grew it. It's like the experience of the customer or client is great, and is what will keep them coming back. So I know you guys, I messaged you about it, like your welcome packs when somebody signs up with you, like those type of things go so far to creating brand resonance and connection. And again, those people are going to be your best sales people. You literally can't. So you want to take care of them and go the extra mile. A lot of people get it twisted and backwards and think about that strictly with like the new clients. But if you can think about really taking care of your current audience first, it pays off. So it's just another little bit of advice.
Yeah, it's just like I was telling you over DM too, and thanks for messaging me on that too. That made me really happy that a couple of days ago when you said that. But when we take somebody on, it's like it's my life. It's my like they're like family to me. It's like, okay, like this person really believes I can help them results that they really want, and so I just try to go overboard. I just try to blow their mind. I'm like, look, like I'm here for you, and I want them, if anything, too, going, okay, like I'm not going to let this guy down because he's counting on me, and I am. It's like I want to brag about him. I want to have a before and after picture, and I want it to look good, and I want them to get their results. I want them to be strong. I want them to feel better. I want them to enjoy it, and I want them to be able to develop habits that they can sustain the rest of their life because of the experience that we had coaching together. And anything I can do on the front end to just try to give that experience as much as possible. I value that over getting a new client, because that person is going to be the one that, going back to word of mouth advertising, is going to be the one that shares it and says, hey, this guy's legit. He's not like 99% of the other coaches that's going to send you a program, not answer his phone. I'm basically on call all the time, because one of the things that we feel really called to is to be a resource to is people that have eating disorders. We were talking about this too, like today or yesterday or whatever. Yeah. Something that I've struggled with my entire life. And so I tell everybody, I'm like, if it's late at night and you want to binge eat, that can really send you down a really, really dark path. And it's a scary place to be. And so I have my phone next to me. I don't put it on airplane mode for that reason, but literally, unless it's that, I don't answer it. It could be anybody. That last hour of night, like I can't be on my phone because I won't be able to settle down and go to bed. So I'm reading before I go to bed, but I do have my phone on me and I'm just checking, like, any emergencies? No. Any emergencies? No. Any emergency? Yes. Okay. I'm answering it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I love that, man. I love it. And yeah, I know how important that is to you. And I can't wait to learn more about that part of your journey. And yeah.
Oh, it's nothing pretty.
It's super valuable. And like I said, I was not joking. As your resources come out and your book and things, and hopefully I'm not spoiling future plans for you here, but yeah, I'll be the first one to pre-order. And as a marketer, honestly, talking to someone like you and Taylor in your business, like, it's exciting because you guys back up the product and service and you're passionate, and there's no marketing or advertising that can fake that. So that is why you get the results you do for the people you work with. Is that's in you guys and what makes you tick. And it's why your business has been successful and will continue to grow, is, being able to always lean back on that. And last little tip, as things grow, if you really are trying to separate those, but having that kind of like bat phone is super important to you, is like, I'd find a way to separate if somebody's trying to contact you for that reason, and that's the reason you're keeping your phone on at night. I'd just either get another phone line, right? Have
that's
like
a
burner phone, whatever it is. And it's like, hey, this is the bat signal.
Oh, that's a
up
good
here.
idea.
So you can just totally like separate those two things and compartmentalize them a little bit.
Wow. Yeah. I don't even know if landlines still exist, but that's
get yourself a pager.
Yeah. Something. No, that's brilliant. I can't believe I never thought of that. Yeah. You can just have another entire separate line.
Probably could even be a cool, again, like for your clients, I think that's kind of cool too. It's like, hey, this is like the emergency phone line that I'm giving you. This number is like for this specific thing. It's all I have it for.
Huh.
You hit me up on it at any time.
Yeah.
Because I actually try to, put my phone away at night, but this I will always have on if you need me. And if I'm able to answer, I'll be there, type of thing. Right.
That is brilliant. Like you completely think outside the box. I could talk to you all day, man.
It's not by choice, my man. It's how I was wired. It's my gift and my curse.
Yeah. Awesome. So in the interest of, respecting your time, I do have a question about YouTube. I don't know if that's something that you're okay with going into now, or if we should go ahead and wrap up.
Yeah, if it's one more, let's do it. And you know me, anytime you want to do this, I'm open to it. I really love
talking. Do a follow up too. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's try to keep this one pretty quick then, without getting on too many rabbit trails. I know that you and I, especially if we start talking about the Maple Leafs and everything, we'll be on. So
your audience would just love hockey talk about the Toronto.
Yeah, Maple. We should just do a whole hockey episode about how much it sucks being a Toronto Maple Leafs fan.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, yeah. We'll table that one for now.
So we're still fairly new to YouTube, and some of our clients would like to start their own YouTube channels. They've expressed wanting to do that. So that was one of the polls when we were getting ready for this podcast, was like, what would you like us to talk about? And the experts are just wanting to start their own YouTube channels because they're into fitness, they're into bodybuilding, and so. They want to do it for motivation, documenting their fitness journeys. So what's one piece of advice that you would give to somebody that wants to start a YouTube channel for the purpose of inspiring others?
I love that. You asked for one piece of advice, so I'll try to be direct. Like, one is that I think there's still a ton of opportunity on YouTube compared to some other channels. And I do think for your industry, it's a no-brainer to get on there. I think the one piece of advice is to go all in and be prepared that at the beginning, it's going to be really crappy. And you're going to look back at those original videos and be like, oh, yeah, man, that was bad. But like, you just got to put yourself out there, get started, start doing it, and be really committed to posting consistently and trying to make it as quality as you can. But frankly, the consistency at the beginning is the most important thing. And there's a lot of tricks to up your production and your quality as you go. So I wouldn't let equipment be a barrier or any of that. I'd get on there, I'd start posting. And then my last tip, and this is just a broad marketing tip, but it applies to YouTube and distributing across channels. Like what you're doing right now with your podcast and videotaping it, one of my very favorite things to do in terms of content production with our clients and for marketing purposes, because it's pretty low lift. You don't need a ton to do it and get it started. And you likely aren't going to get a ton. What a lot of people miss is you're not going to get a ton necessarily from like the podcast audience, especially it takes a while. But what you do get is video content in long form. You get audio content you can pull from it. And now you can use it to distribute. So technically you can be putting these on YouTube, but you can also use them as like an IGTV. Then
you just read my mind. Check this out. Okay.
There you go. Yeah.
So this is our outline, right? And I've put stars and little notes next to all the topics like, oh yeah, no, this little video bite, boom, that's good for an Instagram TV. This little video bite, man, like our super set Facebook page would really like that one. This little bite here, that's going to be the intro that I put on the front of the podcast. Like this is all stuff that's going through my head as just as you and I are talking.
Well, you guys have some natural marketing in you. I know just from since we've met and following your journey. But it's really important because again, 80-20 rule. Like creating content is hard generally. So you just, again, to the YouTube specific, I just say like be intentional, strategic about how you're going to shoot the video in a somewhat natural way and get a lot of juice from what you're squeezing out of it. That would be it. Because if you're trying to like do and you've never done it before, in every video you're trying to do a very like YouTube centric, like what you see a lot of YouTube and polished people that have been getting in front of the camera with lights and mics and shoot, like that takes a lot of practice and a lot of time. So yeah, just be smart about how you kind of do that and intentional on that side, exactly what you're doing, and just try to think about, hey, let's create long form content that we can play in. Like YouTube shorts, great place to be right now. But the thing about YouTube shorts is that you can use that type of video as an Instagram reel, which is really important. And I loved the one that you made. Actually, I forgot to message you where you're pushing the toy car and flexing. Like, I actually think you should do way more of that stuff.
Oh, thanks.
Instagram,
that one got a ton of traction too. That one,
of course it did. So this is why you got to think about it in terms of the platform. So Instagram is trying to compete with TikTok right now, which is growing and somewhere that everyone should be if you're trying to market yourself right now, is get comfortable at making reels or TikToks, basically. Then you can use those TikToks as reels on Instagram. So now you've gotten two birds stoned at once, and you're doing your TikToks and you're using the same video as a reel on Instagram. Although another extra expert tip is to avoid, like, shoot it out of TikTok so it doesn't have the watermark, because Instagram can crawl the video and it'll see that TikTok watermark and you won't get as much reach. So again, make your videos like in that short form style. Then you can also use it as a YouTube short. And again, Instagram is going to push it. It's really hard to grow on Instagram these days without a really, really strong strategy, just based off how big it is, the amount of users and the amount of content that goes out every day. But if you do it intentionally, And think about it, Instagram is pushing Reels to compete with TikTok. So that's where you have the biggest opportunity to create content on Instagram right now, is through videos, Reels, as they're trying to compete, and you'll get much more organic reach, as I'm sure, like you said, you saw with that video. It's also going to suggest you to get on LinkedIn.
Awesome.
As another.
So are you saying that like YouTube Shorts and TikTok are just right now, generically speaking, more or less faster ways to grow than Instagram?
For sure. And then Instagram Reels, like I'd still do it.
That's what everybody says on Instagram too, and that's where all of our new followers are coming from too, which is why I'm trying to do more Reels, is because like posts, like they're, it's just the content that the people that are following me, like that's why they're there in the first place, is because of that. But for their organic outreach, that, man, it's like if I they're hit and miss. Like it'll be a reel that bombs, one that bombs, then all of a sudden, boom, one that hits out. Like I use the right hashtag or something, and all of a sudden, like boom, it's a whole bunch of new followers, and they're all asking questions, and it's not bots, and they're actually people that are like that like the content. So I'm just like, oh, nice, like, we scored on this one.
Dude, you're a big, strong dude. Like, use your bodybuilding and posing, because you're always trying to stop the scroll. So I would have it so that the screenshot is you flexing. So obviously, if I'm like going through a bunch, I'm going to notice that one, and I'm more likely to watch it. And then there's other tips too, like people like to see in the screenshot, like emotion in the face and things like that. But it's really important. I think what you said there to keep in mind is, like, a lot of them will bomb at the beginning. Yeah. And you don't always, what you think is going to be good, so it's always the ones that you like.
I know. Like I got this shitty one from months and months ago that's still getting a whole bunch of follows. I'm like, man, like, look at my new ones, guys. Like, come on.
You just got to, but that's why you just got to do it, right? You just got to literally do it. And I always like this term. My uncle used to say, the hardest part of going for a run or working out is like tying up your shoes, and just about getting started. And so again, creating video content for YouTube, you just got to get started, and it's super important. But if you're going to do marketing, do video, because even Instagram, the CEO said, like, they don't consider it a photo sharing platform anymore. Like, they want to move to be more about videos, because they just know that's where people are going and what people have attention for, and is, a video is more interesting than a photo most of the time. So again, all around back to YouTube is just, be smart about how you're doing it, so you can use that video that you're already creating in a couple of places.
Awesome. Wow. No, dude, this conversation, you have no idea how much this means to me, man. Like, I feel like this was just a full-blown consultation with a true expert in digital marketing, which is exactly what this was. So
that's cool.
I'm so grateful for all this knowledge that we have, and the fact that it's on recording, and like, hell, man, like, I'm going to be going back and listening to this and studying it and taking notes. I already have a whole bunch of notes. It's really, really means a lot that you took time out of your day, later in your day. You're 4 hours ahead over Nova Scotia over there, eh? So I can't thank you enough, man. This really means a lot to me.
Don't mention it, man. It's my pleasure, and I know I can kind of go on tangents and ramble. So if you have any questions as you go through the editing, of course, hit me up offline, and same to your listeners. I mean that genuinely. If something I said wasn't clear, or you want to dive deeper, of course, feel free to reach out. And I'd love, if you're a fan of Colts and Taylor's, I'd love to meet you too. So feel free to reach out to me, and happy to do that. And if people found value in yourself, that means the world to me. I'm happy to do it anytime. I love this stuff.
Sweet. You're a good man, brother, with a big heart, and putting all your contact information, the show notes and everything, so people know how to get a hold of you. And that's it, brother. We'll call it a wrap, and we'll definitely be doing a follow-up episode here in a while.
I appreciate you, man, and good luck with that call, I know, with the rubber, and enjoy your time with your family for the rest of the day. And just appreciate you.
Thank you, listeners, for joining us on this episode. If you found this helpful or entertaining, we ask if you would please share this with a friend. We also would love to hear what you think of our show, so any ratings or reviews are very much appreciated. We have a new episode every Saturday morning, so please subscribe so you don't miss them. Thank you again, and God bless.